Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 3 of building Havenshald, which is a very large medieval city nestled inside of a little depression between a mountain range. You can see right back there right now, that's Havenshald. That's what we've built so far. So this does kind of feel like it's in the middle of nowhere. The entire depression is going to be farmlands. And in fact, here we are starting one of the first little farmsteads. This is, like, I would say it's like the head farmer. We're right now building a tower for a windmill, but this little build here is a little bit smaller. It's gonna be a couple of buildings and some stables and, just like a little plot of land for them. There's gonna be a few little tiny farmsteads here and there, but this is the main one. This is, like I said, the head farmer's farmstead. We're continuing the kind of vibe with stone, with wood supports and that kind of a thing. I think throughout most of this farmlands, it's going to be the style I go with. Maybe I'll do some smaller farmhouses that are more wood. We shall see kind of when we get to that. This big one here, this is the main living area. It is attached directly to the windmill, but this is actually the primary house. There will be lots of landscaping and terraforming throughout most of the stuff I do in this depression to kind of make it a little bit flatter, so we can actually build the farmlands proper. You can see here I'm trying to do a little tiny out-jutting at the front with the smaller roof that kind of hangs underneath the main roof. And kind of like how I've been doing this, I'm kind of going with the flow here. So you saw I had a general outline and then I moved the main building but not the rest of it. It's kind of a common theme with this build. I'm trying to have a general idea of what I want, but very willing to go with the flow. Just doing lots of decorations here. On the lower level of the walkway that leads to the windmill, I actually set everything back a block, again just to add a lot of depth for the decorations there. And while this is a simple building, it's big enough to definitely have lots of decor on it to kind of make it look a little bit nicer than just a flat wall. And keeping to the theme of the farmlands, I'm also putting lots of opportunities for like little planters to put some plants around. There'll be a lot of nature around here, as you'll see as we continue. Here I'm starting to mark out where other things are going to go, doing a little bit of landscaping, terraforming. The blue is supposed to be a pond. Right now I'm working on a big house and the stables. So getting all the supports first. This house actually houses the granary. So the other house has the windmill. This one has the granary in it. So this is where they actually store the milled grains before transporting it to be cooked into bread or whatever else they plan on using it for up above. On this one, I really wanted like a lot of materials for this house. So like you've got the stone for several of the walls. You've got the white kind of, terracotta plaster materials, but then also a lot of wood. So the whole section there is wood. And there's a little section that juts out from the white that's made out of wood. You can see I'm doing a lot of trying to mess around to kind of figure out how to make the roof work with the building shape. It's a little bit of a weird building shape. I know it looks like just a bunch of rectangles in a cross section, but I was trying to be a little bit more interesting with it. So the section that connects to the granary is actually a very different shape, and it made it, or very different size, I should say. It made it very interesting to try to create this roof. Just like with the other house, I'm doing a lot of planters and stuff here. I want a lot of natural, like pretty plants and stuff everywhere. Here I am just doing like a little simple domed roof on top of the granary. See, I just added a chimney on this building. I think I actually do go back and add a chimney to the other building as well. Of course, adding my typical little lanterns everywhere. With the stables, I wanted kind of a simple, fairly open stable design. You see, do a little terraforming. I wanted to add a fourth stable. I thought it would be nice for them to have an extra place to put another horse. But very open, you know, protects from the rain, but like the sides are not like completely covered. And then here I'm doing a little bit more landscaping, terraforming, and I decided to reshape the pond. I want it to be bigger. You'll see right now I kind of play around with the idea of maybe having an island in the middle of the pond, but I decided it's just a little too small for that. Here I'm just texturing the pond itself. I don't want any grass blocks, but I'm, you know, using a couple of different kinds of dirt and natural blocks with some stone. And then my trick there to replace the top with wool and replace it all with water. I think it turned out kind of cool. And then I just do a ring of stones and bushes around it. I also go in and decorate the insides, the under the water, different plant blocks and glow lichen. And then I decide I'm going to section off this whole build with a wall. So right now I'm just kind of getting the layout designed. You'll see in a second I start actually making the wall, yeah, here you go, like making it look weathered and worn, and you know, it's been there a while. Using lots of different block shapes and a few different, like 3 or 4 different block types to give it some aged look. The area outside of the wall is still subject to change. I'm not 100% sure if I'll keep it on a hill or make it a little bit flatter. Again, I need fairly flat lands for the large fields of wheat that I plan on putting here. And while I'm going through here, I'm also just getting rid of all the extra grass and stuff. I do plant stuff later, but I wanted it to be an intentional planting, not just what naturally spawned in. It's a very time-consuming process to make a wall like this, but I think it turns out really nice. Next, before I started doing anything else, I put a ring of bushes, which is just tree leaves around the edges, different heights and stuff. A couple of them are stacked up higher. And then I start working on this custom tree. I decided to do the custom trees before I did anything else, so I'd make sure I had space for them. You can see my process here is creating smaller branches on top of the larger branches, and then filling it in with the leaves. I like to leave a little bit of space so that way you can still see sunlight through it when you're looking up. The other thing I do is I do the branches first, but as I'm placing leaves, I'll, you know, redesign how the branches come out to kind of make sure it's still filling in properly and looks like, oh, these are attached to branches, they're not just floating leaves. I make this custom entrance here that I actually just copy and paste to the 3 other entryways into this little farmstead. There's, I think, 4 archways total. Next up, I start marking out where the paths are going to go. This is really cool. You can actually see kind of my process for how I create paths. I use dirt paths first. I try to make them about 3 wide for a smaller lane like this, smaller path. Sometimes I'll do 5 or I'll do 7, depends on how wide I want it to be, but for smaller ones like this, it's 3. And then you'll see after I get done marking out all the pathways, I take a blend of like coarse dirt and podzol, and I think it's like dirt with small rocks or maybe dirt with bones. I can't remember which one it is, but kind of place them around the edges, occasionally putting some inside to kind of break up just the pure dirt path look. So it looks like, you know, in the center it's more well trodden than on the edges. And then the final thing I'll do after that is go through with stone. I use cobblestone, and we'll place them around here and there. Occasional podzol or coarse dirt in the middle as well, just to fill in the centers a little bit, again, just to help break up that look of just like pure dirt path in the middle. You can kind of see what the finished product looks like there. And then here I am, I'm starting to place moss blocks in the grass, some random dirt and podzol blocks, and random cobblestone, just to help break up the sea of green. And of course, we're going to put plants over all of this too. I'm adding some fencing. My process for fencing is I don't like to have just long sections of unbroken fencing, so I put smaller segments and then use bushes a lot too. And if it's like a natural area, I might put like cobblestone or some sort of stone to make it look like there's rocks that the fencing goes into. And then I fill everything in the middle sections with a few different kinds of plants, tall grass, regular grass, some random leaf blocks that I use as the bush material, put some flowers into. And an important thing is also put some grass on the path itself. It won't go on the dirt path, but you can put it on like any coarse block, coarse dirt or podzol. I like to mess around to find the random ones that don't look super tall, because it's all random. You have to get lucky sometimes, right? But I don't like large patches of grass on the pathway. But you can see here, it's all of a sudden it looks really lush. And here we are, starting the cinematic. Thank you for joining in. Please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, all that stuff. It does help out the channel, helps out, growth, and makes me excited to keep building for y'all.